International Crime Tribunal's investigation agency submits maiden full probe report in Chankarpur genocide case on August 5, accusing 8 people. Chief Advisor leaves Dhaka for Qatar to attend al-aqsa Summit 2025. Enhance regional cooperation to tackle challenges of climate change and rapid urbanization, Professor Yunus urges global leader at ESCAP ESCAP session. Labour Reform Commission submits report to Chief Advisor. $2,000 doctors to be appointed via special BCS within September, says Health Advisor. Government will constitute task force to improve quality of newspapers, says Information and Broadcasting Advisor. Pope Francis, the leader of the Catholic Church, dies in Vatican City. Chief Advisor condoles the death of Pope Francis. Russia-Ukraine ceasefire likely within this week, hopes Donald Trump. And in Sylhet Test, Bangladesh trailing by 25 runs against Zimbabwe at stumps of day 2. Assalamu alaikum. Welcoming you all news at 10. I'm Nazneen Khalek Zubair with the news. Chief Prosecutor of the International Crimes Tribunal, Mohammad Tajul Islam, has stated that the final investigation report on the killing of 6 people, including Shahid Anas in Chankarpur during the July-August mass uprising, has been submitted to the prosecution as a case of crimes against humanity. He shared this information during a press conference held today at the conference room of the International Crimes Tribunal. The Chief Prosecutor said the Tribunal's investigation agency has found evidence of direct involvement of 8 individuals, including former DMP Commissioner Habibur Rahman, in the July-August killings. He added that receiving this investigation report paves the way for formal charges to be framed by the Tribunal. This year, a total of 87,100 pilgrims from Bangladesh will travel to Saudi Arabia to perform Hajj. Director General of the Department of Passports, Mohammad Nurul Anwar, shared this information during a briefing following a coordination meeting with various ministries and departments on Hajj Services held at a hotel in the capital today. He stated that 77,100 of the pilgrims will receive luggage service facilities under the Route to Mecca initiative. The remaining 10,000 pilgrims will not be eligible for this service. The first Hajj flight is scheduled to depart from Hazrat Shah Jalal International Airport on April 29. Earlier, a coordination meeting was held regarding Hajj service with the concerned ministries and departments. Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus left Dhaka for Doha to attend the al-aqsa Summit 2025. A flight of Biman Bangladeshi Airlines carrying the Chief Advisor and his entourage departed Hazrat Shah Jalal International Airport this evening. The Chief Advisor is likely to have meetings with both the Amir of Qatar and the Deputy Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed, in addition to other engagements. In a historic first, 4 national women athletes for Bangladesh will accompany the Chief Advisor during his tour to Qatar. Chief Advisor Press Secretary Shafiqul Alam briefed reporters at the Foreign Service Academy in the afternoon, noting that the Chief Advisor will have a series of engagements during the visit. He said there will be a long event of the Rohingya issue where global stakeholders will participate.
তেইশ তারিখে আমাদের অন্যতম স্যারের মূল যে প্রোগ্রাম সেটা হচ্ছে আটতানা সম্মেলন এবং কাতারের ডেপুটি প্রাইম মিনিস্টারের সাথে স্যারের কলন আছে। এছাড়া কাতারের আমির শেখ তামিম, উনি যদিও এখন একটু ট্রাভেলিংয়ে আছেন, বাট ওনার সাথেও আমরা আশা করছি ওনার সাথে প্রফেসর ইউনূসের একটা আলাপ হবে। কাতারের সাথে যেহেতু আমাদের একটা লং টার্ম এনার্জি, বিশেষ করে এলএনজি ইম্পোর্টের একটা চুক্তি আছে, তো কাতারের সাথে আমাদের একটা লং টার্ম এনার্জির আলাপগুলো হবে। তাদের সাথে আমাদের ভিসা সংক্রান্ত কিছু আমরা আলাপ করব। একটা বড় বাণিজ্য সম্মেলন হবে, বিশেষ করে ইনভেস্টমেন্টের জন্য। কাতারের যারা লিডিং ইনভেস্টর তারা থাকবেন সেই সম্মেলনে, সেটা 23 তারিখে, এবং সেইখানে আমরা আশা করছি যে আমরা ভালো কিছু রেসপন্স পাবো। কাতার চ্যারিটির সাথে, কাতার ফাউন্ডেশনের সাথে, এদের সাথে মিটিং আছে। আর একটা খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট বিষয় হচ্ছে যে কাতারে প্রায় 2.5 ঘন্টা ব্যাপী একটি রোহিঙ্গা ক্রাইসিসের উপরে একটা বড় সম্মেলন আছে। এই সম্মেলনে আমাদের চিফ অ্যাডভাইজার এটা নেতৃত্ব দিবেন, বাট এখানে গ্লোবালি যারা এই রোহিঙ্গা ক্রাইসিসের সাথে অনেকেই তো সম্পৃক্ত, যারা এটা নিয়ে কনসার্ন, তাদের অনেকে থাকবেন।
The 81st session of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, ESCAP, commenced today at the United Nations Conference Center in Bangkok. Guided by Regional Cooperation for Resilient and Sustainable Urban Development in Asia and the Pacific, the session brings together 53 member states and 9 associate members. Special Assistant to the Chief Advisor, Dr. Anisuzzaman Chaudhry, is leading the Bangladesh delegation. In the inaugural session, Chief Advisor of Bangladesh and Nobel laureate Professor Mohammad Yunus addressed participants through a video message. In his remarks, Professor Yunus highlighted Bangladesh's commitment to inclusive and climate-resilient urban development, emphasizing the country's reform journey and the 3-0 vision: zero wealth concentration, zero unemployment, and zero net carbon emissions. He called for enhanced regional cooperation to tackle climate and urban challenges and urged nations to harness youth potential and innovation to shape a sustainable future.
In urban stress, extend beyond national borders, making regional cooperation necessary and indispensable. I have been advocating for regional as well as global cooperation in all directions to solve problems together rather than at the cost of someone else. Let us strengthen our partnerships, mobilize the creativity of the young people, both girls and boys, to create new world of 3 zeros: zero net carbon emission, zero wealth concentration, and zero unemployment. We are at a critical moment in the world's history. With the upcoming burst of new technologies around us, we can make all impossibles possible if we make up our mind to do it. It is now a question of where we want to go rather than how we want to go. If we can arrive at the firm decision on where, finding how will be a fun thing to do for our young people.
Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus reaffirmed Bangladesh's commitment to deepening bilateral relations with China during a high-level meeting with Governor Wang Yobo of Yunnan Province at the State Guest House Jamuna in Dhaka today. The Chief Advisor recalled his recent visit to China, describing it as a turning point in the relationship between the two countries. He praised China for its warm hospitality and expressed gratitude to President Xi Jinping for his encouraging words on strengthening ties between the two countries. Governor Yobo said Yunnan is ready to serve as China's open hub for South Asia. The Chief Advisor and the Governor discussed a range of collaborative initiatives, including youth exchange, healthcare cooperation, education, and trade. Labour Reform Commission today submitted its report to Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus. Labour Reform Commission Chief Said Sultanuddin Ahmed handed over the report to the Chief Advisor at the State Guest House Jamuna this afternoon. Members of the Commission were present. Receiving the report, Chief Advisor said that there is an international interest in the report of the Labour Reform Commission. They will examine each recommendation, he added. The Chief Advisor advised the Labour Reform Commission to discuss on the report with the Consensus Commission. Deputy Press Secretary to the Chief Advisor Azad Mujumdar said this while briefing to journalists at the Foreign Service Academy.
মাননীয় প্রধান উপদেষ্টা ওনাদেরকে একটা কথাই বলেছেন যে যেই কয়টা সংস্কার কমিশন এখন পর্যন্ত তাদের প্রতিবেদন জমা দিয়েছে, এর মধ্যে এই কমিশনটার একটা বিশেষ দিক হচ্ছে এইটার ইন্টারন্যাশনাল একটা ইন্টারেস্ট। আন্তর্জাতিকভাবে এই কমিশন কি প্রতিবেদন দিয়েছে এবং সেগুলো কিভাবে বাস্তবায়ন করা হবে সেটা নিয়ে আন্তর্জাতিক মহলেরও একটা আগ্রহ আছে। মাননীয় প্রধান উপদেষ্টা ওনাদেরকে একটা পরামর্শ দিয়েছেন যে ওনারা শ্রম বিষয়ক কমিশন যাতে ওনাদের কমিশন প্রতিবেদনটা নিয়ে ঐক্যমত্য যে কমিশন গঠন করা হয়েছে সেই কমিশনের সাথে কথা বলেন এবং কমিশনকেও ওনাদের সুপারিশগুলো ব্যাখ্যা করেন, যাতে করে ঐক্যমত্য কমিশন যখন রাজনৈতিক দলগুলোর সাথে আলোচনা করবে সেখানে এই প্রসঙ্গগুলো রাখতে পারেন। কারণ এই শ্রম বিষয়ক যে কমিশন তার সুপারিশগুলো বাস্তবায়নে আমরা মনে করি যে রাজনৈতিক দলগুলোরও ভূমিকা থাকাটা জরুরি। আমাদের দেশে 8 কোটি শ্রমজীবী মানুষ আছে, তাদের মধ্যে 85% মানুষ অর্থাৎ 7 কোটি শ্রমিকেরই কোনো আইনি সুরক্ষা নেই। আমরা সরকারের কাছে সুপারিশ করেছেন এই শ্রমিকদের জন্য একটা আইনি সুরক্ষা যাতে নিশ্চিত করা হয়। পাশাপাশি জাতীয় ন্যূনতম মজুরি নির্ধারণের একটা সুপারিশ ওনারা করেছেন।
Meanwhile, Labour Reform Commission Chief Said Sultanuddin Ahmed said 25 of the Commission's recommendations have been given the highest priority. He said this while briefing the reporters at Shromo Bhavan.
আমরা একটা জাতীয় শ্রম কমিশনের কথা বলেছি, যাতে মানুষ সমস্ত অবিচারের বিরুদ্ধে প্রতিকার দিতে পারে, সমস্ত বৈষম্যের বিরুদ্ধে প্রতিকার। আইন এবং প্রাতিষ্ঠানিক কাঠামোটা আমরা এমনভাবে সাজানোর কথা বলেছি যাতে এটা সার্বজনীন হয়, এটা বৈষম্য হয়। আমরা বলেছি প্রত্যেকের কোনো না কোনো সামাজিক নিরাপত্তা কর্মসূচির অধিকার থাকবে। এই যে ব্যাপক কর্মযজ্ঞ, এর জন্য আমাদের যা প্রাতিষ্ঠানিক কাঠামো সংস্কার লাগবে, আমাদের আইনের সংস্কার লাগবে, আমাদের স্কিম লাগবে, সবচেয়ে ব্যাপক লাগবে সবার সদিচ্ছা সম্মিলিত।
Hospitals under Bangladesh Railway are being opened to the general public. Following infrastructure and healthcare service improvements, people across the country will be able to receive medical treatment at 10 railway hospitals. However, as always, priority will be given to railway officers and employees. Today, a memorandum of understanding was signed between the Ministry of Railways and the Health Services Division in the conference room of the Ministry of Health and the Secretariat. The secretaries of both the Health Services Division and the Ministry of Railways signed the agreement. Railways Advisor Mohammad Fazul Kabir Khan, Health Advisor Nurjan Begum and senior officials from both ministries were present during the signing ceremony. Health Advisor Nurjan Begum said that 2,000 doctors will be recruited this year through a special BCS exam. She added that the recruitment process is expected to be completed by mid-September. The health advisor also mentioned that the interim government is working to improve the quality of healthcare in the country and to address the shortage of skilled manpower in the health sector. European Union EU Ambassador in Dhaka, Michael Miller, paid a courtesy call on Home Advisor Lieutenant General Retired Mohammad Jahangir Alam Chaudhry at his Secretariat office today. During the meeting, they discussed Rohingya issue, immigration, human trafficking, prevention of smuggling and ongoing state reform initiatives. Home Advisor requested the ambassador to open up one visa center for those EU member countries do not issue visa from Dhaka. He opined that Bangladesh is a major human resource exporting country for EU region. He said it is extremely hazardous, time-consuming and expensive to travel New Delhi for visas of some EU countries. Home Advisor told the envoy that EU should open a visa center in Dhaka to overcome this situation. EU Ambassador assured him that he would discuss the matter with representatives of concerned EU countries. Information and Broadcasting Advisor Mohammad Mahfuz Alam has stated that the government will form a task force to enhance the quality of newspapers. This task force will work transparently to determine the actual circulation figures of newspapers, implement the wage boards, set advertising rates and overall improve the newspaper industry. The advisor made the remarks during a meeting with stakeholders from the Department of Film and Publication DFP in the conference room of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting today. Emphasizing the importance of publishing newspapers in accordance with government policies, the advisor stated that only those newspapers published in line with these policies will receive government benefits, including advertisements. He noted that the government has no intention to shut down any newspaper, asserting that transparency must be ensured at every level associated with newspaper publication. Criticizing the previous government, the advisor remarked that during the era of the fascist regime, many ministers and members of parliament became owners of various media outlets through different means. Necessary measures will be taken after assessing the overall condition of these media outlets. Information and Broadcasting Secretary Mahbub Farzana, Media Reform Commission Chairman Kamal Ahmed, Director General of the Film and Publication Department Khaleda Begum, Professor of the Department of Mass Communication and Journalism Dr. Gitiara Nasrin, President of the National Press Club Hassan Hafiz, Secretary General of the Bangladesh Federal Union of Journalists Kader Goni Chaudhry, President of the Dhaka Union of Journalists Shahidul Alam, along with editors and representatives from various newspapers and government officials were present. Presided over the meeting held at LD Hall of Sanshad Bhavan this morning. Commission members and Chief Advisor Special Assistant were present. Senior Naibi Amir of Khilafat Majlis Maulana Yusuf Ashraf led the three-member delegation. After the meeting, he said Khilafat Majlis has agreed on 147 out of 166 state reform proposals, expressed dissent on 15 proposals and partial agreement on 4 proposals. He said the parties strongly proposed the removal of the term pluralism from the fundamental principles of the Constitution. Instead, multiple opinions could be used, he added. Islami Oj IOJ today met Chief Election Commissioner A.M. Nasir Uddin and demanded holy election in quickest possible time. A 5-member delegation of IOJ placed this demand at a meeting with CEC at Nirbachan Bhavan. IOJ Secretary General Shakhawat Hossain Raji said Islami Oj is willing to cooperate with the government about reforms necessary to hold election. He said without reform, election process would be contaminated by muscle power and black money. Fair and neutral election needs reform, he added. Pope Francis died today aged 88, a day after making a much hoped for appearance at St. Peter's Square on Easter Sunday, the Vatican said in a statement. Dearest brothers and sisters, it is with deep sorrow that I must announce the death of our Holy Father Francis, said Cardinal Kevin Farrell in the statement published by the Vatican on its Telegram channel. This morning at 7:35 a.m. local time, the Bishop of Rome, Francis, returned to the home of the Father. Francis' death came just a day after he delighted the crowds of worshippers at the Vatican on Easter Sunday with an appearance on the balcony at St. Peter's Basilica despite still convalescing after a severe illness. Francis had come close to dying twice earlier this year while suffering from pneumonia. He spent 38 days in hospital before he was released on March 23rd. On Sunday, he wished the crowds on St. Peter's Square Happy Easter as he waved, and in his traditional Urbi to Urbi benediction, he called for freedom of thought and tolerance. Meanwhile, Chief Advisor Professor Mumti Yunus has condoled at the death of Pope Francis. US President Donald Trump said on Sunday he hopes Russia and Ukraine will make a deal this week to end the conflict in Ukraine. Both will then start to do big business with the United States of America, which is thriving, and make a fortune, Trump said in a post on Truth Social. Meanwhile, Ukraine and Russia have accused each other of breaching a 30-hour Easter truce announced by Russian President Vladimir Putin on Saturday, which has now expired. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russian troops had violated the ceasefire nearly 3,000 times since the start of Sunday, reports Reuters. Russia's defense ministry said it had repelled assaults by Ukraine and accused Kiev of launching hundreds of drones and shells. The BBC has not independently verified claims by the warring side. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump, who has been pushing for an end to the war, said that hopefully Russia and Ukraine will make a deal this week, without giving further details. Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine on 24 February 2022 and currently controls about 20% Ukrainian territory, including the southern Crimean Peninsula annexed by Moscow in 2014. Ukraine issued air raid alerts for Kiev and the country's eastern half as blasts shook the city of Mykolaiv. Early on Monday, authorities said, hours after the one-day Easter ceasefire declared by Russian President Vladimir Putin came to an end. Both Kiev and Moscow had accused each other of thousands of attacks that violated truce that the Kremlin indicated on Sunday would not be extended. Washington said it would welcome an extension of the truce, and President Volodymyr Zelensky reiterated several times Ukraine's willingness to pause strikes for 30 days in the war. But Putin, who launched Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022 and who ordered on Saturday the halt in all military activity along the front line until midnight Moscow time on Sunday, did not give orders to extend it. Some regions in eastern Ukraine were under air raid alert starting minutes after midnight on Monday, according to data from the Ukrainian Air Force, with the alerts gradually extending towards the central regions of the country. Blasts shook the Ukrainian port city of Mykolaiv, Mayor Alexander Zenkovich said on Telegram. But he did not say whether it was air defense systems in operation or whether the Russian air weapons hit a target. While there were no air raid alerts in Ukraine on Sunday, Ukrainian forces reported nearly 3,000 violations of Russia's own ceasefire, with the heaviest attacks and shelling seen along the Pokrovsk part of the front line, Zelensky said earlier on Monday. Russia's Voronezh region that borders Ukraine was also under air raid alerts for 2 hours overnight, the region's governor said on Telegram. The United States and Iran made progress in a second round of high-stakes talks on Tehran's nuclear program on Saturday and agreed to meet again next week, both sides said. The Oman-mediated talks in Rome lasted about 4 hours. Iranian state television and a senior U.S. official said Tehran's top diplomat Abbas Araghchi declared it a good meeting that yielded progress. Iran Foreign Ministry spokesman Ismail Baqi said the parties agreed to resume indirect talks at a technical level over the next few days and subsequently continue at the level of 2 senior negotiators next Saturday, April 26. The U.S. officials confirmed another meeting next week but did not specify which day or where. Oman said the third round would be in Muscat, returning to the site of the first talks a week ago. Those were the first discussions at such high level between the foes since U.S. President Donald Trump abandoned a landmark nuclear accord in 2018. Western countries, including the United States, have long accused Iran of seeking to acquire nuclear weapons, an allegation Tehran has consistently denied, insisting that its program is for peaceful civilian purposes. After Saturday's talks, Oman's foreign ministry said Araghchi and U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff had agreed to keep negotiating. No news on weather. Met Office, in its weather forecast till 6 p.m. tomorrow, said rain or thunder showers with lightning flashes and temporary gusty wind is likely to occur at a few places over Mymensingh and Sylhet divisions and at 1 or 2 places over Rangpur, Rajshahi, Dhaka and Chittagong divisions. Besides, weather may remain mainly dry with temporary partly cloudy sky elsewhere over the country. Night and day temperature may remain nearly unchanged over the country. Country's highest temperatures was recorded today at Rajshahi 35.5 degrees Celsius and capital Dhaka's highest temperature was 31.5 degrees Celsius. Now news on sports. Bangladesh trailed by 25 runs against Zimbabwe at stumps of Day 2 in the first test of 2-match series at Sylhet International Cricket Stadium. At the end of the day, the Tigers scored 57 runs for 1. Mahmud Al Hassan Joy and Mominul Haq were on the crease with 28 and 15 runs respectively. Zimbabwe resumed on 67 for none but gradually lost the wickets. They were all out for 273 runs in their first innings. Opener Brian Bennett contributed 57 while Sean Williams hit the highest 59, leading the fight back in the middle order. Bangladesh spinner Mehdi Hassan Miraj ripped through the Zimbabwe first innings, taking 5 wickets for 52 runs. Bangladesh were bowled out on 191 runs in their first innings. Defending champions Bosundhara Kings will face Dhaka Abahani in the final of the Federation Cup at the Rafiquddin Bhuiya Stadium, Mymensingh, tomorrow. The match will start at 2:45 p.m. Since the Federation Cup was launched in 1980, Abahani has owned the tournament 11 times. Bosundhara Kings are the 3-time champions of the tournament. Earlier, playing with 10 men in the qualifier 1 match, Abahani defeated Bosundhara Kings by 4-2 in a tie-break to reach the final. Then, Bosundhara Kings defeated Rahmatganj Muslim Friends Society by 2-1 in qualifying 2 to ensure a place in the final. And now to end the bulletin, headlines once again. International Crime Tribunal's investigation agency submits maiden full probe report in Chankarpur genocide case on August 5, accusing 8 people. Chief Advisor leaves Dhaka for Qatar to attend Arthana Summit 2025. Enhanced regional cooperation to tackle challenges of climate change and rapid urbanization. Professor Yunus urges global leader to escape session. Labour Reform Commission submits report to Chief Advisor. $2,000 doctors to be appointed via special BCS within September, says Health Advisor. Government will constitute task force to improve quality of newspapers, says Information and Broadcasting Advisor. Pope Francis, the leader of the Catholic Church, dies in Vatican City. Chief Advisor condoles the death of Pope Francis. Russia-Ukraine ceasefire likely within this week, hopes Donald Trump. And in selectors, Bangladesh trailing by 25 runs against Zimbabwe at stumps of day 2. And that's all for the newsroom for this moment. Thank you for staying with us, and we invite you to watch our next Bangla News